Okay, for tonight's dining experience, we're going to be offering a roasted garlic couscous, a seared crappie fillet with a Mediterranean vinaigrette dressing, and a spring mix side salad that should blow your goddamn mind. Here we go, boys.
Is that the special for tonight?
That is the special for tonight.
Oh, we just ran out.
Oh,
It was the special for tonight.
Story of my life.
Do you still have brandy old-fashioned sweet with olives? Yes.
Only sour.
Oh, that's a bunch of goddamn bullshit. All right, well, I can make do with a sour for now.
I like the sweet ones too. I agree, Hahner. I like sweet.
All right, welcome to another episode of Past The Barb. Today is Sunday, December 11th. I'm your host, Adam Bartusik, and if you hear a bunch of noise in the background, it's because we have a bunch of other co-hosts today. But to my right, we have representing from Wisconsin, Mr. Cody Hahner.
How's it going?
And in the bottom corner, we got over in Montana, Mr. Will Stolski. And in the bottom corner, we will have a combo of Mr. Ryan Pinkalla and Mr. Matt Waldron. But for some reason, Waldron's in my screen.
Yeah, he's coming out there to get some food. I had to send him on his way.
All right, so then sitting to my right, got Mr. Adam Griffith, and we got the full crew from the Crappie Chronicles here that we're going to be talking to, and I think Waldo just got into, yep, there he is. Okay, yep. So we are chilling, and we got Luke, our other camera guy here. He's going to chill and eat some food too, but we are up at Geiger's Trail End Resort right now on Bowstring Lake in northern Minnesota, filming the first traveling experience for the Crappie Chronicles. And yeah, we're just going to kind of dive into everything with all the boys and have a good time. But first of all, how's everything going, boys?
You know, pretty good here. It was actually really nice here this weekend, which was refreshing. It was over 30 degrees for 2 days in a row. So I fished, and then we're going to get a bunch of snow this week, like every day. So probably won't fish for a while now, but the fishing was good.
Dude, I seen that.
So you had a time, Will. So you
What's
had
that?
an absolute time.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I was fishing with Joe. I mean, it was.
It looked
Yeah.
like Beauty Fest, like just popping off over there.
It was like one of those days where, like, because we were, trout fishing open water where you would just you'd fish for like an hour and then you just had to go back to the truck and drink just to stay warm. Like, like the buzz, it would wear off. You'd go fish for an hour and then you'd come back and just be like slugging in the truck just to warm up, dude. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of Coors Light and Zins kind of powered that day.
Yeah. You say a lot of Zins. Well, I noticed like an absolute pile. Like we're talking the Eiffel Tower type pile.
Dude,
it looked like a commercial, dude. To be honest,
I keep a log on me like at all times now. Like if I go to the store, I'm buying a lot. I'm just like, give me a roll. I'm not buying individual cans anymore.
This flavor. It was this flavor, wasn't it?
Sixes. Yes.
Is that what's different? It hits.
So what's the difference between like the sixes and the? Isn't there? What are the levels? What are the differences?
There's sixes and threes.
Yes.
The nicotine levels. If they made a 12 or a 20, I get that, but the 6 is the most.
So if you did like 2, is that a 12?
Are you an addict or are you not?
Oh, I'm so addicted.
Is what it comes to. Are you an addict or are you not?
Yes, I'm addicted and I love it too much to quit. I'll never ever quit nicotine. But yeah, if you do 2, then you get a 12. If you do 3, get kind of crazy, that's an 18.
I like that.
Go. You're good at math.
But yeah, I had a good weekend. It was nice to be able to fish open water. That was really nice. So yeah, no complaints. Cody, how was your weekend?
Can't complain. I actually did a little bit of ice fishing, believe it or not. You 2 screens over there. I did.
You ice fish?
Not really. No,
Are you terminally ill?
I just sort of drink and
I was going to say, did you mix up ice fishing for drinking?
No, not this time.
He's like, no, actually, I was just drinking.
But But I did go ice fishing. I went walleye fishing and jig for walleyes, which is actually surprisingly, for those that don't go ice fishing and bitch about ice fishing like myself, it was actually pretty fun.
Was the fishing good? Did you catch some fish?
Yeah, it was
Nice.
It was really fun.
Nice.
Caught a handful over like 25 inches, so that was super fun on a little jig pole. And can't complain.
That is fun.
Yeah. And got whiskey blasted every single night, which is amazing.
What was the bartender pouring?
Way too many IPAs, Bart. Way too many IPAs.
Over 7?
Like 7.
We're talking like 9.
Oh, so we got mad, Cody.
That's like the control.
We were talking our feelings in this one. We were talking feelings.
It got emotional.
Yeah, that's like 8 1/4. No, that's great. Life over here has been good. I mean, as you guys know, we are extremely busy currently. So my current events have been picking up machines and then driving up north. So that's basically been ice fishing like every day now.
Yeah.
So
nice. How
be
is
heading
it?
back home soon.
When do you guys? How much longer are you there for?
Just tonight, actually. Tonight's our last night.
And then you leave. Do you guys fish tomorrow, or do you just get on the road?
Yeah,
tomorrow?
we're gonna fish our way back home.
Nice,
So,
nice.
yeah,
that'll be a good way to end it.
Have you caught anything?
No,
a few. Today, not much, but
Griff broke his PB
today.
Really?
What was the PB? Like what species?
Tullaby.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it.
It's in the freezer.
Do you want to see it?
Actually, yes.
Yeah.
I was happy that Pink wanted to kill it, so I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Are you gonna mount it? You should mount it. Oh,
No, definitely gonna
put it right
consume
here. Put it right here.
He might mount it.
Oh, dude, I like hella wrap that thing.
We'll get there eventually. Fill time.
It's deep. I did all stack, dude.
What is it wrapped in? Newspaper?
Yeah, the fish cleaning house thing just had a mega stack, and I was like, I'll use that.
There it is.
Oh, that's a dandy.
Oh, nice.
Keep it. No, get her out, dude. Get her out
of there.
Let's see her.
Nothing wrong with that.
Man,
It's full of perch, too.
I would knock the sides off.
How bad did it smell?
Oh,
it's got to be terrible
bad.
right now, dude.
God, they just reek.
But God, was it shiny.
God,
Dude,
it smells
Cisco are so oily.
Oh,
They're
bad.
so bad.
They're worse than trout, even.
Okay, I don't think I
That's
can get it
some.
fully out of here without peeling the newspaper off.
Okay, well, we got a good. Just hold it up again.
Yeah,
Adam.
we had a.
Just hold it up like you're taking a picture with it.
That's not. I don't see it.
But take a picture with it.
Can you see
Can you
two-handed?
hold it by the gill?
That's a big one.
It's
That's pretty
honestly
exciting.
probably like a
wasn't too bad.
17-inch Tullaby.
It's a very nice tool.
Dude,
Good
nothing
God.
wrong with that.
He was roaming around in a
Magnum.
crappie school.
Of course
He
he
was
was.
lost. He was dazed.
He
and
was
confused. Yeah. What was he doing?
I hooked him, and I'm like, this is not a crappie.
Yeah.
By the way, it was fighting all crazy. I'm like, crappies don't do that.
Yeah, something ain't right here. Oh, well, that's exciting. But the fishing, it's been productive. I mean, has it been good? Is that? I know we
It's been
don't
up
want.
and down.
I mean,
Spoil,
you're
we have our
showing off
moments,
a
and then we
Tullaby,
have-
so let's not hype it up too much.
Right.
We'll talk a little bit more details in this. Pink, what's going on in your life?
Okay. So
Adam's struggling so hard with this thing.
Dude, he wrapped it like 12 times.
just forget about it,
just
dude.
Put it in the freezer. Pink, go ahead.
All right. So I just got out. So we came up here on what day did we get up here? Wednesday night. I got unreal sick this week, dude. Like I'm talking next level shit.
Oh, you got it,
dude.
You got it.
Oh no, he's not kidding.
No, like
Bad.
this.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I hadn't had this.
Oh, I
dude.
know
And
exactly what you're talking about.
so I don't even know what the hell it was, but dude, Wednesday, Waldron comes to my house to pick me up to like grab my stuff. I left work early because I was like, dude, this is unreal. I was absolutely blowing her out both ends, dude, for like 3 days straight. Unreal, uncontrolled. Just couldn't rein it in.
Explosive.
Well, dude, I'm laying in the shower for like an hour, like 2 hours before he's supposed to pick me up. I have nothing packed, and I'm literally just laying on the floor, like in front of like a fireplace, just burning my guts out. And he's like, dude, I'm on my way. I had like 20 minutes to pack everything we needed for this trip. He got to my house. I was just like laying on the floor in my fucking underwear.
And a t-shirt, and that's it. Just look.
I was like
hell.
Not
Shit's everywhere.
Things are not going well currently, but we just like threw all the stuff in the truck and drove up here. Worst night of my life, dude. I swear. I mean, last year on this trip, when we did a trip at the beginning of the Chronicles, same thing happened. Different sickness. Got it from Bart last time, but I dished it to Waldron like day 2 of this trip. So he's been dealing with that for the next 3 days.
It's been terrible.
So long story short, we are very, very lucky that this place has 2 bathrooms because we have absolutely worked them.
Yeah.
It is. It has been a marathon of guys needing to stop at gas stations while we're trying.
Are you feeling better, Ryan? Are you still battling this?
Dude, I'm feeling a lot better. And as of this morning, we had the first one that came out solid, so we're taking that as a win.
That's a plus.
Hell yeah.
The tides
you
are
need to teach Waldron how to talk into a mic.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll dish it to him.
It's.
Yeah, I've yet to experience the solidness.
Come on down here. What'd you say?
All right. Awkward silence. Okay, we're going to move on to just a little bit of Will. Do you want to dive into your wiki find?
Yes, we can talk.
Should we do some current events? Hahner, do you have a specific current event you wanted to talk about that was unrelated to what world is going on? You're now the muted one, buddy.
Oh, Cody's muted.
Oh, what?
Shut up, Brian.
Okay, you're back.
Drunk Woody, who's listening right now, you have to take 3 shots for that one.
Boom, right at you.
All right, so I wanted to talk about so we talked about in either the first, second, or third episode, we talked about Brittany Griner being in the gulag. Well, guess what? She's back. And Brittany Griner has been released from prison, which is amazing. Despite all odds, USA versus Russia, as far as trade deal go, USA probably got like D- on this one. They traded Brittany Griner for the Merchant of Death. But you know, we found ourselves a pretty solid WNBA player. Pretty solid one.
Which was the better trade, the Brittany Griner trade or the Herschel Walker trade?
Man, I'm as far as like grading,
I think we'll have to see how this plays out. I mean, we're going to need a few years to see if the Merchant of Death sort of fires things back up. You know, if he gets back to the top of the arms dealing game, then it's a horrible trade.
Literally, his nickname is the Merchant of Death.
Can we talk about how that's such a badass nickname, dude? That is the coolest nickname ever. That is.
That man has to be just like scoring cash and just wheeling and dealing. Like,
have you guys seen War Dogs? Have you guys seen War Dogs before?
I was just about to reference it.
I have not.
Yes. He's probably like, the guy that Bradley Cooper plays in it. That's who
that is the Merchant of Death.
That is a great movie. Awesome movie. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Great movie. But that's who I pictured. I'm like, this dude is Bradley Cooper in War Dogs. He's like the shady.
Bro, that guy fucks.
Yes.
Hahner. Okay.
The Merchant of Death is cool.
Real talk. How many points does Griner have to put up to make this a worthwhile exchange here?
Man, she's gonna have to put up at least 10 rebounds or something.
We'll call it.
She needs probably 10 rebounds. 10 rebounds. Probably like 15 points.
She needs to score 100 points in a game.
Maybe like 2 3-pointers.
We need Will Chamberlain
to realize.
Yeah, she needs to score 100 points in a game, and she needs to play in.
Unbelievable! This guy is literally the worst. I mean, just the fact that we couldn't get the Marine
guy out too. I know.
who was like part of the espionage, whatever, like spying on Russia, whatever, and they would not let him up. Like,
I know we couldn't do a 2-for-1. I mean, Brittany Griner and the Marine for the Merchant of Death.
Oh my gosh, it was like, I'm sure there's some liberal people on here that are listening to our podcast, but my God,
I think politics aside, it's just like it's a head scratcher, you know.
It's absolutely asinine. It's hilarious at some point. I mean, it's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
I think you're like one of those things.
Giving up literally, a pretty solid women's, like basketball player for the Merchant of Death.
1v1, 1-on-1, 1-1 trade.
Yeah, it's insanity. But shout out the Merchant of Death, dude. He's back.
Yeah, dude, he's back. He's ready to go,
dude. He's back, man.
Will, do you remember from, I think it was the Ukraine war, like earlier this year, wasn't there like a nickname for a guy who was a fighter pilot for Ukraine that had taken down like 6 or 7?
They called him the Ghost of Kiev.
Ghost of Kiev.
Yeah, dude.
All-time nickname.
Like, he was a G too.
There is nothing like this war where you can actually see on TikTok and be like, that's kind of cool. Like 10,000 people died. That's all right.
Yeah, it's like live action from the battlefield, dude.
Yes,
it's
literally.
insane.
And you're watching this motherfucker just like, and like, go, and just shooting down this plane. And they're allowing it to be on.
It's pretty
awesome.
That was a wild time on TikTok.
It's so twisted, dude.
Yeah,
I will never forget, like logging onto Instagram one day and just seeing that video, the viral video of all of a sudden a bomb just flying into a window.
You hear
and there's like,
yes,
parents and kids, and you're just like, that's enough internet for the day.
Yeah,
yeah.
You're literally,
it's crazy.
But then you got the people in the back just being like, yeah, Mondays be like in the comments.
Yeah. You're like
it's just so fucked.
I know. We're like so far removed from it's a real war, you know. People are dying.
Yeah.
Like, and then there's like 18-year-old kids, they like put the Andrew Tate like background music to it, and they're like, oh yes, let's fucking go, boys. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go to war.
Man, it's insane. This is a perfect transition, though, because I'm also, speaking of war, I'm going to talk about one very quickly. My Wikipedia find of the week.
Better not be, like printers or something like that.
No, this is an all-timer.
Okay.
This is a good one. It's called the Great Emu War. So, emus being the flightless bird, if you're familiar with an emu. So I'm just going to set the stage a little bit. So this was in the 1930s in Australia.
Real quick, I'm sorry. What's the difference between an emu and an ostrich?
That's a great question, and I don't know because I think they're very similar because ostriches can't fly either, right?
I think they're both just big-ass birds, but they're different birds.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just huge flightless birds. But the emus, they're real sons of bitches, and you'll find out why. So 1932, there's all these farmers in Australia, and a lot of them are veterans of World War I. So the Australian government, after the war, gave all these vets like this farmland in Western Australia. And so 1932, like the Great Depression is going on, like crop harvest has been horrible. These guys are really struggling. And part of it is due to all these emus because they're destroying all of the crops, like the wheat and stuff. So finally, this guy, he like takes it up on himself and he's like, I'm declaring war on the emus. Okay. So the Australian government provides these guys with like 50 machine guns and like unlimited ammunition.
Get the fuck
out of here. Yes.
Dude, the
to
pictures on this Wikipedia page are unbelievable.
It's absolutely incredible. So the government, they arm these dudes. They're like, okay, just like go after them. So yeah, here it is. They had 10,000 rounds of ammunition. So the first attempt, these guys roll in. They spot 50 emus were sighted. As the birds were out of range, the local settlers attempted to herd the emus into an ambush, but the birds split into small groups and ran, so they're difficult to target. Nevertheless, the first attack, they were able to kill a small number of birds. Later that day, a small flock was encountered, and perhaps a dozen birds were killed. So they're not having a lot of success. So then the next event was on November 4th. They established an ambush point near a local dam. So I assume where these birds are kind of using the water as a resource. There's more than 1,000 emus were spotted heading towards their position. This time,
military
Heading towards their position.
this time, the gunners waited until the birds were in close proximity before opening the fire. One of the guns jammed after only 12 birds were killed, and the remainder scattered. No more could be shot. No more birds were sighted that day. So
they had 1,000 come in and they killed 12.
They killed 12, and then the rest.
Can you imagine what 970 or whatever flightless birds looks like scurrying away?
So this goes on for a few more days. Like, they just can't kill these things. And then this is a quote from one of the soldiers, we'll call it. He says, the machine gunners' dreams of point blank fire into serried masses of emus were soon dissipated. The emu command had evidently ordered guerrilla tactics, and its unwieldy army soon split up into innumerable small units that made use of the military equipment uneconomic. A crestfallen field force therefore withdrew from the combat area after about a month.
So beautifully written.
Incredibly written, dude. So they could not beat these emus. And then here's basically the final quote from it all. So basically they give up. They can't kill these things. And this guy says, if we had a military division with the bullet carrying capacity of these birds, it would face any army in the world. They can face machine guns with the invulnerability of tanks. So the long and short of it is they could not kill these things. I mean, they killed a few hundred, but not 10,000 rounds worth. So the emus won. The Australian army kind of had to surrender to the birds. So
what the Australian army's got just gigantic pussies for this, right? Like, how don't you win this?
I would think that you could probably bomb them. Maybe would be more effective. I mean, if we could modern day, drone strike the shit out of them, just into a big kind of covey of them.
I mean, kudos to that writer though. Like, he made that sound like it was a fucking Gettysburg.
Awesome.
Yes, I was pumped when I found this. I was like, this is my best wiki find to date. So the Great Emu War, like Adam said,
how drunk are these guys that are just
the emu hunters
gunning down emus? Yeah,
I'd be getting loaded, dude. It sounds like the most fun job ever.
Lit up, dude.
Yeah, and they can't kill anything. What a disappointment. They thought they were gonna be racking thousands of emus, and they got like 200. So
congratulations.
Pink, how would you cook an emu?
Dude, I don't know, but I'm thinking we got to go. Like, is this war still on? Like, can we get in?
As far as I'm concerned, the war is never ended. It's still waging, and I'm ready to enlist. I'll go to Australia.
So do we do like a Past The Barb trip to just like roll some emus?
Yeah, if we have any Australian listeners, which I know we don't, but maybe, if we could kind of facilitate a trip, a hosted travel for an emu slaughter.
Little harvest mission.
That would be awesome, dude.
I would pay top dollar to see Hahner walking across the prairie with an emu over his shoulder.
Be sick, dude. Talk about a cool pile pick. Here's 65 emus.
Oh my god! Could you imagine? Just
look at all the college kids from North Dakota and Bemidji around Goose Opener, and you're like, yeah, but check out my emus.
Forget getting the gold on the AK. I got an emu. An actual emu.
Dude, I got a 100-round drum and a bunch of emus to kill.
That's
awesome.
good.
Well, that
Yeah.
was a good one, dude.
Yeah, I was pretty proud of that one. That was a good find. Like I said, like
Well
Bart
done.
said, the pictures. If you look up the pictures, it's
Oh,
awesome
yeah,
because
they're
there are
great.
a few kind of trophy pics holding them up. So
Yeah, by the neck or feet. They didn't really figure out a good way to do it.
no, hard to pose them. They're a very
No.
long bird. It's hard to fit in the frame.
All right, good job, Will, with that one. Now we're gonna slide into what in the world is going on. I actually have a couple for these, but I wanted to bring up one first because we've talked a little bit about MLF and Bass with the Opens and Elite Series. I thought Hahner would find this interesting. The NPFL earlier this week, they're going for it this year. So they are accepting angler applications. They're going to have a field of 130 anglers, and they're guaranteeing $100K first place prize per event. It's only $5,200 entry fee, which is right in there with the Elite Series, and it's $500,000 total purse. So they basically just made the old FLW tour because they're taking 130 anglers. I think that's like super ballsy, but I think it's really cool too for guys who don't have a place to maybe fish next year. And Hahner, you're muted.
No,
How's that feel?
That's shut up. Shut up, Brian. No, that's insane. Like, think of the guys that are willing to do that. Like, you got 9 tournaments, $5,000. I mean, I looked at my expenses from the year that I fished FLW Tour, and it was $90K. And I slept in my truck. $90K. The guys that are willing to do it, like, good for them. Good for them.
I think the NPFL is, I want to say there's 6 events next year. Plus, they're doing a
6.
championship. But, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. To be honest, if you look at the format of the NPFL compared to the invitationals or whatever they are next year, kind of kicks the shit out of them.
Yeah. No, that's super cool because it allows like another avenue for fishermen and stuff. But still, at the same time, man, like it is like people are not expressing how much money this is to get into this stuff. Like I've experienced it firsthand. I've gone in debt from it, and it is so much freaking money. Just like, all right, well, like I might win 10 grand on this tournament, but it's just going to roll over to the next one. And that's great. Like if you get a free invitation, well, that cut off what, like 3 tournaments that are, what is open nowadays? Like 17, 18?
Yeah, I think it's 17 or 1800. That's what the Toyotas are too.
Yeah, so you have 18 times 3, plus travel and entry fee, or plus travel, and then food, baits, whatever, gas, yada yada yada. It's so much freaking money. It's so much money. It's a good gig because you get that free entry fee, but still at the same time, my God, it's so much damn money. It's so much.
It's so much money. I think it's cool that someone's like kind of standing up to the Bass and MLF, FLW ranks and just going, we're going to go do it. Cause I've paid attention a little bit to it and it's cool. We've seen some guys make the Elite Series off of it, but I just thought it was a cool little noteworthy thing to bring up. The only other one I wanted to bring up. Yeah, that someone's actually willing to do it. But the only other one I wanted to bring up, because we talked about this in the podcast with Hayes, and then it like came out later, and one of our buddies, Sean, who listens to the podcast, sent it to me. But it's not official yet, but there was an article in the Star Trib that came out and said that the Minnesota DNR is looking at erasing all fishing state records pre-1980. And that is a topic we talked about.
They didn't quote us, but I think it was directly as a relation to our podcast.
No, they definitely knew us.
I think that were owed a quote. Who wrote that article, Adam? I think you should go after them.
Yeah, we'll reach out
legally.
I tried to open it to get more details before the podcast, and then the good old Star Trib, you need to pay $2 to read this article thing popped up, and I quit.
Yeah, we're absolutely not.
So
we don't have that
that's
kind of budget
basically
yet.
what I got.
Yeah, yeah, we're not making that much yet, guys.
Well, with that, I brought it up to Griff, and like it was kind of cool for us, like with the crappie side, because that record would get erased, and we would be like, okay, let's go break the state record.
Yeah.
What is the state record? We talked about it, but what is it? What is it again?
It's 5 pounds.
5 pounds even.
5-1 or 5 even. Black crappie.
It's a big crappie.
Will, you want to know something
That's a
kind of
big
cool about
crappie.
Minnesota state records? Griff's
What's that?
dad has the actual Minnesota white crappie on his wall.
Really? That like the
We
actual
caught it
fish?
and weighed it, and we just got a replica of it. We let it go.
Sure.
But he didn't want to turn it in, so we didn't see. Nobody knew where it was at and whatnot. So
Mhm. That's
he
pretty
just
cool.
put it on his wall, 4.6. So the current
Gosh.
state record's like 4 even or 4.2, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was 19 inches long.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh,
It looked like a 5-pound largemouth. I mean, it was crazy how big it was.
that is absurd.
I mean,
Yeah,
what is
but
what does
okay,
a crappie
so-
that weighs that much like eat? What does it eat?
Pretty much whatever it wants. It's like it basically becomes a bass. They eat perch.
Yeah.
They eat a lot of crappies. I mean, crappies and bluegill, a lot of crappies and bluegills, and they usually eat themselves a lot. Like the adults will eat the little babies. So, like the
Mhm.
biggest predator of a crappie is probably it's a crappie.
A
when
crappie.
they're young, at least until they get to about 5-6 inches, then they really can't eat them anymore.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Huh.
Interesting.
So
But yeah, I just
I-
thought that was a cool one to bring up. But I mean, Will, what do you got going on in the world? Or did you have something else you wanted to bring up?
what did I say? Oh, the Minnesota DNR cull hunting. Did you guys know about this? Like Pink, did you know about this? How they'll open it up for like unlimited deer?
So they've been doing it the past couple of years. Actually, they've expanded it though.
Yeah, so that was the thing. So they expanded it now to this area right outside of Bemidji, which is like where I grew up hunting. Like my family has land there and stuff. And I read that they found one deer that tested positive this season for CWD, and now they're just gonna open it up for this cull hunt, which is 3 days long, and you can shoot as many deer as you want. The tags are $2.50 a piece, and to me, it just seems a little overly
Excessive?
aggressive. Yeah,
Look, dude.
Sure.
yeah.
And to be honest, like I don't know where they're getting like this data or information, because there's other places that have CWD too. It's not like it's exclusive to
Yes.
Minnesota that have had it forever. Like states like Colorado, like their mule deer population has had it for a super insane amount of time, and they don't crazily like go out of their way to like try to eliminate deer numbers to say like you just got to mow them down like that.
I know.
So
I
I really
it's
don't get it, and a lot of the regulations they even have in place make no sense. So I don't know who's making these decisions, but
And I don't think it spreads as fast as they say it does, because I mean, you look at deer, they're always touching faces. You know what I mean? Like when they like greet each other, they'll actually like rub noses and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's
Like,
like, well, if
lick
it
a
was so
nose
bad, it should be like in every deer that's by that one, right?
Mhm.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. It's like one deer out of all the deer that were shot, it's obviously not spreading like you're portraying it.
Yeah, like wildfire. So yeah, I think it's just kind of a crazy measure to try to mitigate the problem. Like I feel like you said, Ryan, it's not like limited to Minnesota. There's a lot of places that have CWD, and things seem to be fine without eradicating a population. So I don't know. It'll be a
DNR. They always just do the most extreme thing like that. They just
Yes.
really don't use logic. They just kind of are like, yep, we'll just wipe them out. We'll call it good.
I know.
I mean,
It's
like,
crazy.
it's like seemingly they feel like they can hit the reset button if they just let people kill a ton of them. But
Right.
I mean, I don't know where that's ever been proven to do a damn thing for
Right.
CWD management other than there's less deer around, so less test positive because there's less there physically.
Right.
That's not very good science.
No, it's like the dumbest. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So, yeah, I'm glad we're all in agreement there. Because when I first read that, or my dad told me about it, he's like, yeah, they're going to open it up to like, you know, the cull hunt. And I'm like, what does that even mean? You know, because it's never happened that far north before. And yeah, so a lot of deer are going to die, I assume.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen some road hunters.
Yeah.
Different.
We're also
type of
like on
road
the
hunting
res right
going
now.
on.
So.
Right. Yeah, it's open season year round there.
But Hahner, what in the world is going on up by you? What do you got?
So far, so there's been 2 vehicles that have gone in on Lake Wassa.
Dude, that's
already
further. That is the same
been a
longitude or
and-
latitude or whatever as Minneapolis.
There's been
Like it's straight east and
Jeep,
a lot warmer.
a Jeep and a 1995 Chevy 1500. It was, you know, one of those ones that have like the sofa seats on it. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's
The full bench
gone
sheet. Those are
now.
the best.
They were
that
super
was my
comfy.
first truck.
Yeah.
Hunter, I want to know
They've
how far
gone
did
down.
they make it?
They made it quite a ways. Like they made it to said airport that I've also seen an airport in the water. But they made it to there, and it was across the channel and then into another channel, but they all like dive bombed into this little creek or channel or whatever. But it was hilarious. Like
Oh my
God. Yeah, there was no big like issues as far as like people dying or anything like that, but it was just more or less like, what are you doing?
Was this on purpose?
No.
Well, they purposely were trying to get to their spot. Yes.
Well,
yes.
yeah.
but no. They literally just like drove out there thinking, oh, everything's fine. We got our Jiffy, ice auger here, a Jiffy 50, and we're gonna rip some poles, put some tip downs in, and we're gonna catch some crappies. But yeah, it was hilarious.
Lake
Absolutely
Wassa. Jeez.
Oh, you've been there, Pink.
Oh, I've been
I
there.
know. Oh yeah, you should see the crowd that comes out there. Oh my God.
A big drinking crowd.
Unbelievable. Oh my God. It's you want to see a shanty town. That is quite the crowd. You want to have a good time.
Hey, boys,
go in the shanty town.
Speaking of drinking, it came
There's
out.
your beer. Oh, that looks awesome, dude. That label looks so cool.
Yeah, that's him.
Yes, I know. I saw like just the picture of it, but I haven't seen it.
No, it came out. It's been going really good. It's very good.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it. I talked to some people that actually had it, and they said it was really good. So
that's sick. All right, Pink and Waldron. Well, here's the deal. We'll go to Waldron first because he's like slightly nervous about this too, which is awesome. So he's bringing a what in the world is going on to this, and let's see what it is.
Well, I was going to piggyback off Bart because we had an interaction with a CO. So I didn't know how much he wanted to deep dive into that interaction or not.
I thought you had an article that you wanted to talk about. That's just a different thing.
Well, I do.
With the Chronicles. Yeah, talk about your article.
Well,
I think that's the context.
So pretty much we had an interaction with a CO, and it just got me thinking about just some dumb fishing game regulations that are, just present across the states. The first one that I found was 12 states on the East Coast, Pennsylvania being the most popular, do not allow hunting on Sundays. Meaning that guys who work Monday through Friday cannot hunt on Sunday. So they get 4 days a year to gun hunt instead of 8 days a year.
That's actually wild.
Yeah, it's super weird, and they're fighting really hard to get them changed, but for whatever reason, they just won't do it. It even made like Meat Eater, like they did a huge write up about it.
Huh,
Did they
that's
give any
wild. So is that
context for
only
why
in
that
effect
is?
for deer season?
Yeah, it's for religious Sundays stuff, like type stuff, because they wanted people in church. That's literally the only thing that Meat Eater could find, and they just won't overturn it.
No harvest for Jesus.
No harvest for Jesus.
So those rules have probably been put into place for like a really long time. Then
Yeah,
probably,
like well over 100 years on almost every
like the
one of those states.
inception of hunting regulations. That's interesting. Yeah, that is a kind of a slap
basically
in the
gotta
face.
be around that, like
blue collar guy.
Maryland, West Virginia, like belt of like really early America. Like that's got to be the states, right? That's basically what it is. Is like the first however many states. That's like one of those old laws, and I can't remember what movie it was, but Hahner, you would think of it, where like it's Parks and Rec TV episode where they like read through old written laws and they follow through with them. And one of them's like they throw Jim in the lake or whatever it is. Yeah. Like, and it's just an old written rule. That's like one of those things.
Yeah. The next one that I got was Nebraska road hunting law. So this one was really funny because Griff and I have seen our fair share of road hunters the past couple days. And this one, let's see here. They had, so in Nebraska, you can legally use a vehicle as a quote unquote ground blind while you're on the road, and you can shoot a rifle out the window as long as the vehicle is in park with the keys turned off. And here's the thing. If the vehicle is parked, it has to be out of the right of way of traffic. And you can legally
could
use
you
it as a ground blind.
imagine this guy just peeling down a gravel road and just slamming the brakes, pulling over to the side, just
Fired it in the park and
rifle
cutting
out
the keys.
immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it happens. It happens more than you think.
I guarantee it happens.
I know it does,
yeah.
but that's cool that it's legal there.
Yeah, it's legal. It's the only state that allows you to do it.
Yeah,
and then the
ground
last
blind.
one that I had was my favorite, and this will get Bart all hot and bothered. In the state of Michigan, it is illegal to drop shot in all streams and rivers that contain salmon and trout because
I've seen that because of snagging.
Yeah, they view drop shotting as snagging. So even if you're bass fishing with a plastic or whatever, because it's a drop shot, you are breaking a law and you cannot do it.
So you can't you can't throw a drop shot on bait and knock? Or
If
is it only stream?
Is a stream or river that contains salmon or trout.
So like designated.
Well, remember
on bait and knock, but yeah.
Remember like the I think it was like the All-Stars event at Bassmaster. Aaron Martins was bitching and complaining. He's like, "Oh, if I could throw a drop shot right now, I'd catch him. Guaranteed, I'd catch him. And because it was illegal. It was absolutely illegal to throw a drop shot. He could only throw like a Ned rig or a shaky head or something like that. And he was complaining about it.
So how does that get into like the nitty gritty of what the rig actually is? Like, what if I just have like a 12-inch Tokyo rig?
You outsmarted the system.
I'm just saying.
You did it.
I don't.
God damn it, Pinkalla.
I don't know.
We're going salmon fishing, boys.
It literally took 2 seconds. And 6 idiots to come up with that one.
Oh,
yeah, that's all I got.
All right,
those are the 3.
All right, so this one I thought was interesting. This came up pretty recently. I don't even know why I saved this one when I saw it, but just because we were talking about with Will that Alaska stuff going down with some of like the commercial fishing and all that. So over in Virginia, they're having some meetings coming up, like I think in the next week or so, with some of like the state officials, whatever. about the menhaden over there. So I don't know if you guys know like what that fish is. It's like just like a bait fish in the ocean. So in Chesapeake Bay, they're like pretty prevalent there. And they've been doing what they're calling reduction fishing for them for like a pretty good amount of time, I guess. So I didn't really know what this was. But essentially they have like these commercial type vessels, and they're targeting these fish with spotter planes. So they got people literally ripping around in like single engine planes looking for these schools, and then they're encircling them with like trap nets, and they're just murking them all. And I guess they've been doing this for a long time. So they're using like aircraft, drones, all this stuff to like locate schools of these menhaden offshore. And then they're just rounding them up and just like wholesale, just slaughterhouse to all these fish. And I guess they've been talking about like eliminating some of this type of like fishing, because I guess some of these nets that they have, when they school them all together, they've had some of these nets break, and they've had like these spills of these menhaden washing up on the beaches and stuff in Virginia. And I guess it's making a huge mess because they're just like rotting thousands of fish on the shoreline. But when we're talking about like how they're actually going and getting these fish, there's a lot of sport fish groups that are obviously saying that like this should be banned because they are seeing like declines in Chesapeake Bay, like sport fishery and stuff. But you know, I'm like looking at it from the perspective of they're freaking just deleting like a bait fish population in Chesapeake Bay
for no reason.
And well,
Yeah,
the way
what is
they're
their-
doing it is
What's
right?
the reasoning?
I have no idea. Well, I think initially they thought they were like overpopulated, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know, it's a bait fish species, like everything eats them. And maybe they were, I mean, well, it's like anything else. Well, dude, they're just over harvesting. They're like, dude, there's a ton. Let's just kill them. But I mean, when you're using airplanes to locate these things, and then you're sending like ships out there to just like round them up. So one, I want to see this go down.
Be next level live scope.
Dude, I just want to see. I haven't had a chance to look up like videos of this, but I want to like see it going down.
There's got to be some big corporate America that is behind this. That I don't know what legality or whatever else, but there has to be something behind it, because that is unbelievable. Where you're using like helicopters and shit like that, like you're literally having Armageddon on a bait fish.
And how is that even legal? First of all, like they regulate how many fishing lines you can use and all this stuff, but then they're just like spotter planes to round up all these fish in one go.
Yeah,
somebody's got to be making money.
Like, come on,
it, you know? Someone's making money.
Yeah. But anyway, I thought that was hella interesting, and I thought I'd bring it up because I was like, we were talking gill netting and stuff with Hayes, and I just was looking at this like, holy hell, they are harvesting. And I don't even know what they do with these fish. I mean, I'm sure there's some market for them, but I can't imagine they're worth a damn thing.
It's probably like Asian carp, you know, some weird market somewhere.
Maybe they like grind them for dog food, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, that's a good one. All right, we've kind of gotten through all that. What we can dive into now a little bit is just, well, one, we can talk a little bit about the trip we're on right now. Like we said, we're up at Geiger's Resort on Bowstring. If you're listening to this and you're a fan of the Chronicles, as long as nothing crazy happens, there should be episode number 1 on Thursday. And yeah, it's been fun. It's been very cool. I mean, there's a couple behind the scenes things we can bring up that are not necessarily on film that are kind of hilarious. There is one lake we went to that everyone will see and find out about and everything, that we filmed an episode in 1 hour and 15 minutes with probably 40 to 50 fish catches. And like, I'm talking pile drived them. It was unbelievable. And when we got back in, we ran into the resort owner and we were chatting with him. And I think Griff has a great interaction with like what happened when we talked to like a couple other guys that were at the resort, because a guy next to us ended up hearing that we crushed him on this local lake too. And yeah, so Griff, what were your interactions like with those guys?
Well, the first guy we met right up at the lodge, and we're like, he's like, yeah, you guys smashed the crappies. And we're like, yeah. He's like, we're sitting on that reef right next to you guys. Yeah, we got 25 pike. And we're like, what? You know, they've only been out there like the same time we've been out there, maybe an hour longer. And so then tonight we get back here and this guy like leans his head out and he's like, heard you guys caught the crappies pretty good out there. And I'm like, yeah, maybe. And he's like, yeah, we were out on that reef right out here. Same one the guys caught 25 off. And they were like, yeah, we got 15 pike off there today. So in one spot, there was what, 40 pike caught off in like a half a day, basically, time wise.
And dude, we're not talking big pike. We're talking like the good old like 14-inch knot rockets.
Yeah.
So like I could not think of anything I would enjoy less in this world.
Good pike. Good pike.
They're good for pickling. Those are the pickling pike.
Now, we didn't verify if these pike got harvested or not because we're in the part of the state where like you can murk like 10 a day.
Like the eagles are coming.
Pink, you got anything you want to bring up? I'm drawing a huge brain fart here right now.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I mean, we obviously just been pretty much crappie grinding. We haven't really, I mean, had too much other like multi-species stuff, to be honest. Like most of the lakes we're fishing are just like, you know, some of these smaller lakes we've been hopping around to, kind of Northwood stuff, which has been super dope because there's like not very many people out fishing the stuff we've been on.
So quiet.
Oh, dude, yeah, it's so nice up here right now. And I mean, there's a ton of machines around. Like, there's people getting out, but I don't even know. Like in this area, there's got to be at least 1,000 lakes, probably, Bart. I don't know what's up here, but it seems pretty
between Cass and Itasca, there's well over 1,500.
Yeah, and like Hahner, this area up here that we're in is like it looks unreal, just like Minocqua, like Eagle River.
Yeah, northern
like
Wisconsin type.
No other part of Minnesota really looks like this, which is super sick. But yeah, every lake we've been on, I was like, we in Saint Germain or like, what is this?
Yeah. No, I totally like you could go to any other puddle and it could be 10 acres, it could be 10,000 acres, and you could find like what you're looking for, regardless of the species.
Yeah, no, it's been super fun though. I don't think we did run into. We caught a couple we got one really good pike that was pretty sweet. We got like,
oh my god, okay, we do have a clip that everyone will have to see of legitimately the greatest hook set of all time, and I don't know how a rod didn't explode.
Well, it did explode.
It did.
Kind
of.
Okay.
Well, this will be in a bit. We're gonna talk about this anyway. It's gonna be in the video.
There
but
was multiple movies.
So we're on this lake. We're sitting. It's kind of like a basin deal, and we're marking some crappies floating around. Oh, whatever. We couldn't get them to eat, and we're just like jigging. And I have this big mark come on, and I'm like, oh, here we go. And I just drop down, and with like a freaking ice rod, it's just got a little like noodle tip on it, the whole thing. And this mark just comes floating up on me, and the tip just barely goes. And I set the hook on it, dude, and it was like 0 to 100 immediately. So I set the hook, and we got the entire thing on video. I set the hook, and I'm like going up, and I get to like right here, but just like right at my head level, and the velocity that the rod went from my hand to the ice was
knocked you over.
Dude, I set the hook, and I'm diving forward to catch it, like pile driving the rod into the ice, and like the carbon of the rod like exploded outward just from the force that it hit the ice. Plus I like drove it into the ice, and I picked the rod up, and the reel is just dumping line, just absolutely dumping. And we got the entire thing on video. It's an awesome clip. I literally pissed myself rewatching it because it's so funny.
It is going to be great because on YouTube I have to bleep it out, but it was a hook set that just went, oh shit, fuck.
Yeah, but whatever. The rod made it through the fight. It is definitely just this like splintered carbon mess, but I fished with it for the next couple days still, so it's all good. But it was a sick.
For the record, he's still using it. And there's shavings like exploding on the side.
We need to get that rod.
Thorn Brothers, get you a rod. You can absolutely smash it into the ice, and it'll work. Maybe.
And well, it hit. I mean, this, and it was a pike. We landed the pike, Pretty nice fish. Absolute missile on the hook set, though. Just unbelievable. But yeah, so anyway, we got a clip of that. That's coming. If you want to see that, it's pretty damn funny.
Yeah, like if you ever think you've had a fish eat going 100 miles an hour before, I promise you haven't, because I've never seen something like this happen. That's how good of a hook that it is. Like, it was so immediate. It was great. And then the other behind the scenes thing of the trip, where some of it will be in the videos, is just us dealing with Pinkalla being sick and then Waldron getting sick, and the amount of gas station stops and just illness in the household, and me and Griff looking at each other, and Luke, our poor camera guy, going around to everyone and being like, God, who's next?
Yeah. Well, hey, so what did we determine?
What?
You cut out right there and skip forward. What do you say, Pink? I can hear you talking, but you're definitely muted. So we're going to have to. Yep, there you go. You just got muted. Whenever he gets back, we will chat about that. But yeah, no, it's been a great time in northern Minnesota. We have a monstrous snowstorm coming in on Tuesday. So we got to get heading back like tomorrow night, and we'll be fishing all day tomorrow. But yeah, okay, Pink, I think you're back now. What were you saying?
All right, am I back? Am I back? We back?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So no, I was just saying, did we determine what this sickness was? I thought we talked about this and somebody had an answer.
I thought it was just influenza, because I think
that was
the show got it.
Yeah.
At the ice show?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna roll with
evidently
that.
that's where it came from.
So we went back to back.
How about the guy you talked to?
Oh, he just cut out again. What?
The guy you talked to where he cut the thing.
Oh yeah, okay. And then also where Pinkalla caught the where Pinkalla had the rod explode. So we leave this spot, we go to another spot, and here he is. He's coming back out here to talk now. But we go out to the spot, and then we go to another. We're kind of catching fish, but me and Pink look at each other and we're like, yo, we're gonna go check that old spot. So me and Pinkalla just roll up to it, and we're like about to go drop live down, and just this old timer on an ATV with the house behind just slowly rolling up, and Pink's like, he's coming right here. He's coming right here. He's coming right here. And he's driving directly at us. Like, definitely not moving at all.
At approximately 2 miles an hour.
Mind you, he was at idle speed. Like, I don't know how fast this guy was going, but it was very slow. And he pulls up right next to us, doesn't say anything, just gets out, walks right over to me running Mega Live, and just goes, yeah, you got some nice technology here. And for the next 15 minutes, he talked to us. And we are back live. So shortly after the part of the podcast you just heard, our Wi-Fi completely went out. And yeah, so now it is the next day, and we are all back together. Stolski is not here. I believe he's probably still at work. But we have Hahner, Griff, Pinkalla, Waldo, and me. And we're just going to continue with finishing kind of the last segment we were going to talk about of the podcast, which was last winter. The Chronicles crew was kind of lucky enough to take out, and we're also joined by Griff's daughter.
Is that a child?
That is a
child.
That is
a
child.
Oh, there she is.
What was that? A crappie screaming for its
Pretty
life
much.
before it's filleted?
She looks terrified looking at the screen right now.
Oh no, it's a child.
Hi, Lily.
Say hi to Waldo. She's eating fruit, so she don't care.
Okay.
She no like Waldo.
All right, let's go. Go watch TV.
No. I'm gonna be rock.
No,
Oh,
that's
you're
gonna
really
be a
rock,
star.
I'm gonna be
It's gonna be
really
a total star.
She is going to overtake the podcast. What I might do is just mute Griff every once in a while if we just hear her just start going off. But she's good. She's a good girl.
She's amazing.
We'll let her ride. But yeah, so last winter we got to take out Barstool Sports, which was really, really, really cool. We took out the Spittin' Chicklets guys, and I mean, I don't really know how do we want to dive into this, guys, like how it started, and then we'll just go into the day of what it was, and then kind of that weekend. It was a wild, like 5 days.
Well, we might as well start with Bo Brower sliding into my DMs, and I didn't even know who these guys were. So I messaged you. I was like, "Do you know who the Spittin' Chicklets are?" And you're like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah, like
I had no idea either.
Yeah.
Waldo,
Just go into like how it just came together, I guess.
yeah.
Because that was kind of on your end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Hahner, if you have any questions throughout this time, make sure you ask them
No,
because it's going to be very loose.
I'm going to be very I'm going to be nitpicky, but I know how the story goes, so I'm watching.
All right,
by the
perfect.
sideline. Yeah.
All right, so basically what happened was like Waldo said, Bo Brower reached out to him because what we ended up finding out was Bo went to high school with Chef Donnie, who works for Barstool. And
Stop.
basically what ended up happening was Bo called me and was like, hey, the Spittin' Chicklets are coming out to Minnesota for the Winter Classic, and they want to go ice fishing. Mind you, I believe this was Wednesday when I got called. We had an episode coming out. We were supposed to have an episode coming out the next day that I was supposed to be like editing. And then we were supposed to take them out. Did we take them out on a Friday? I think we did.
No.
So it happened like really, really fast. So basically, yeah, like I told Bo, yes, we would do it. About 30 minutes later, I got a phone call from Donnie at Barstool, and we set it all up. So then what ended up happening...
Turn the light back on. Jesus Christ.
Your daughter just turned all the lights off in his house.
Yes. This is a podcast.
Here we go.
Nice.
You're going to do it again, too. Damn it.
Oh my god!
Thank God there's like 4 pre.
Fun times of
listening.
having a 3-year-old. Stop, Lily. And we're going dark. Again.
There's a light switch war going
There's a lot
on at Griff's
happening
house right now. But basically then we got it all lined up. I immediately had to call Clam and all them because we didn't have machines and there wasn't enough ice to put them in permanent ice houses. So we had to take them out in portables, and we also needed like a handful of hubs. And Griff's lights are off again.
You leave it alone. She asked me if I can leave it alone. You leave it alone. Oh, she turned it back on for me. All right, cool.
But yeah, so basically we just got everything lined up and ready to go. And instead of like we had plans to film on Friday because I think it was it New Year's Eve or something? I think it was a holiday, so everyone had off anyways.
Turn the light back on.
And we went out that morning, caught them really good actually.
Well,
but
look, so like they hooked us up fat, right? Because we went to Clam and like we were just trying to get some machines, and they gave us like their badass like track machine. That was like,
yeah, it was a giant side by side,
like a side by side with like the tracks instead of tires on it, which was like a badass
like
rig,
leather interior, like
like all pimped out.
Power windows, heat, yeah.
We were like, these guys are going to be hyped when we show up to the freaking access with this thing, which they were.
Yeah. And then we had also they had a ATV we took, and then I called Sobe and was like, hey, we're going to need extra help. So he brought a wheeler and a snow dog as well. And yeah, so just tons of machines. But yeah, we went out in the morning, caught them really good. And then
like before they got there. Like
before they got there. We got there super early and the bite was like going on. It was definitely happening. And we were like, we were still looking at each other like, are these guys actually going to show up? Like, we were like, I don't believe this is actually still going to happen. And then Donnie called me that they were there, and we drove back to the access. And I think also the kind of sketchiest part of that morning was we hadn't been back there to know how much ice there was. So we were driving this side by side out going, please, dear God, I hope there's enough ice back here.
Yeah, I was pretty freaking nervous. I mean, that's a $40,000 rig, not ours.
Yeah.
Like,
That they were just like, yeah, you can use this.
yeah, I was a little puckered up.
But we got back to the ramp, and I think it was me and Pinkalla, and then Waldo rode in. But they rolled up in like the most expensive rentals ever, and Whitney popped out, and I'll just never forget, in just designer boots.
Oh, dude, they were and they had like a full squad too. Like I don't even remember how many people they brought with all their camera guys and like stuff. It was just stupid.
It had to have been 12 guys.
Yeah, I think it was like 12 guys because they had everybody from the podcast, which is I think 3 people on the podcast, 4 people on the podcast, and then they had 3 camera guys, Chef Donnie, and then a sound guy. Which we'll get into that, but he was he had the sickest stories because he was the sound guy for the Deadliest Catch for like 8 years.
Well, and they just like were inviting their friends too, like that showed up later.
Yeah, and they were having a podcast on the ice, so they ended up bringing out like 4 or 5 old Gopher players and NHLers, if I remember right.
Yeah.
But yeah, they all get out and we're chucking them, and Clam gave us a ton of ice suits too because we knew they were going to show up not prepared at all for this. So we got a bunch of ice suits, and we brought as many old pairs of boots as we had because Clam didn't have any.
And as soon as they show up, it just starts dumping snow. Like this is like blizzard white out here.
Yeah, it was snowing hard. And but it wasn't necessarily windy. It was just one of those calm storms where it was just dumping snow straight down, giant flakes. And yeah, Whitney gets out, we give them all their suits, we all get geared up. And I mean, I'll just never forget to, like, we're looking around, kind of telling them what we're gonna do and head out, and they're like all pretty pumped up. And Pink was like, all right, I'm gonna rip out there. Who's gonna come with me?
Yes. So I jump on, I grab the 4-wheeler. And I'm like, hey, somebody can ride on the back of this thing. Like, let's go. Yeah. And Ryan Whitney's like, fuck yeah, like, let's do this thing. So he just like, I'm literally like driving past. I throw it in like park. He just jumps on the back, like facing backwards, and just like locks in. And it's just like, let's do this thing. Like he's just got his legs like hanging off the back of this wheeler. And I'm like, fuck it, perfect. And we just start ripping out. Like, and you know how like the axle is all like heaved and shit. I just go like going over that. I can't believe he didn't fall off. But then I just absolutely let her rip going across the lake. And I just remember him sitting on the back.
You were hauling.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I had it pinned. And we're just ripping. And he's just like sitting on the back, just screaming, we're fucking doing it the whole way across the lake. All the way. Like
we're literally crappie fishing.
He's like, we're fucking doing it. Well, none of these guys had even been on like a lake before when it was frozen.
Yeah, like they played hockey, but they hadn't been on that experience of like, I'm on a lake that's frozen driving a machine. So yeah, Pink's hauling across it. He's just screaming, we're fucking doing it. And it's dumping snow. So like for some guy who's never actually done it, it probably was just like the sickest experience in the world.
And I'm just the entire time I'm like, for the love of God, please don't fall off. Like I cannot be the guy that like busts this dude's kneecaps. Like,
yeah.
So then we put Waldo in charge of driving the side by side. So only one of us was in charge of it all day. And then we're like, okay, who's going to hop in with Waldo? Because he had all the heated interior. So like camera guys and stuff like that. And yeah, so guys start jumping in with Waldo.
Yeah. And then Biz is like the first person, and he picks a guy. And he goes, I'm riding shotgun in this bitch. And friggin' just jumps in and tells me, you better floor this thing. I'm like, dude, I don't want to drive fast. It's like not nice. And this is like a heavy ass vehicle, but I'm like, okay. And I'm like looking at him like, yeah, it only does 20 with tracks. it goes way faster than that, but I'm not trying to put a machine through the ice.
Well, and then so when we get out there, Griff is still out there, obviously hammering fish, just waiting for everybody to show up. And him and Sobe, while we were back at the Access, had set up a hub. And when we got there, and the guys, we were like, okay, so like that's the shack you guys will you'll record the podcast in and everything. Well, they immediately go look inside it, and Sobe and Griff had set up like the most full-fledged, legit Bloody Mary bar of all time.
Well, and also Sobe went to like the liquor store the night before. He came with a duffel bag, like an entire duffel bag.
Yeah, he had everything.
Up like a bunch of Pink Whitney anyway, which made sense. But like the rest of it was just like, we had like gallons of alcohol in that thing.
And Labatt's. We had a ton of Labatt's because that was their beer sponsor at the time. So it was just loaded out there, and we were all looking at each other like, I'll have one or two, but we got to make sure these guys can't die. And so we all get out there, and then we like basically are like, do you guys want to fish first, or like what do you want to do? And they're like, let's get fishing. So like we open up all these rod cases with like, because like we don't have any just regular like combos to give them. We have all of our like Thorn Brothers customs and everything, and we're like
nothing to give an average person.
No,
like with inline reels on every single one.
Yeah.
So we open all those up, and we're like, all right, we're gonna go, and Vexlar gave us like, I don't know, 10 extra units. And we're like, all right, we're going to go out and we're going to go like fish a bit. And we had a grid of holes drilled. I mean, mind you, we had just rolled in like 8 times with machines. So every fish in the area vacated immediately. But we started hole hopping with them and explaining like everything we're doing. And Pinkalla goes off in the distance with RA.
Yeah, so he's like, he just wanted to catch a fish. He's like, I don't give a shit about like anything else that we're filming or whatever. He's like, I just want to catch one.
And mind you, RA probably has the most thick East Coast Boston accent of all time.
And he's like still fucking drunk from the night before, pretty much.
Yeah, like we got off the wheeler and he started heaving already.
Yeah, he's puking his guts out all morning, dude. It's like what, 9 a.m. This dude is just giving her. And so I'm like, all right, let's go do this thing. So we start hole hopping around, and I get on like a little group of fish or whatever, and I'm showing him like how Vexlar works and stuff, just so he can like understand what the hell he's looking at. And so he like figured that out pretty quick, and he's like, all right. But he's like, none of these guys knew how to use any of this shit. So it's like I'm telling him how to like pull line off the reel, like get down, and we're fishing like maybe like 17 feet of water, and he's pulling this goddamn line out like 3 inches at a time, like off the reel, just like like lowering it down. And I'm like, dude, all right, here, let me just fucking dump this down. Okay, here you go. So I hand him the rod, and just like the first 3 times these crappie just vapor trail up and just smash. Like it's a spring bobber rod, so you see him just load it up, and like he has no idea that he's like getting a bite or whatever. I'm like, shit, this is gonna be a whole process now, trying to get him to like figure out how to set the hook on a fish. And so whatever, we're shooting the shit, and I finally get out another school, and I have no idea how he I have no idea how he managed to do it, but he actually ended up hooking one. And so he's reeling it up. He catches like a 9-incher, and I think he was stoked because it was like the first fish that was caught like while we were out there. So he now immediately just talking mad shit to everyone. Like, let's go! Everybody that can hear him, he's just talking shit to. And so when I'm asking him, I'm like, so do you do like any other fishing? Or like, these guys are from Boston, And I'm just like, yeah, you fish for like anything else or whatever. And he's telling me like, not really. He's got like a buddy that he's gone fishing with before or something. And he didn't really get into it much at all. But like we're going around, and now we're like finding fish, and he's like understanding what to look for on the Vex, and he's getting hyped. Like we drop into a hole and there's a Christmas tree in there, and he's like, holy shit, here we go. And now it's like snowing. Yeah, it's like snowing more and more now. And like it felt like we were really getting it, but finally we get in this next hole, and I think he catches one more, and he's getting pretty hyped. And like now the camera guy's over there like filming him and shit. And he's like losing his mind a little bit. And now I'm like trying to hype him up. I'm like, dude, we're fucking on. I'm like, we're gonna smash and all this shit. And he's looking at me and he starts yelling. He's like, "These ain't no fucking bluefish." And he's just like grinding this fucking crappie and like not using the drag or nothing, just like grinding it up right to the rod tip. Like the jig is like going through the eyelet on the, you know, the tip of the rod and shit. And the fish is just like flopping off the end. I'm like, this is an absolute gong show, but they're filming everything. So I'm like, they have to be getting some good shit here. So we're just like hole hopping. And then eventually he dipped because he had to go blow his brains out again. But that was pretty much like I got him on like 2 fish and then he went and puked for the rest of the day.
So then I have Biz with me. Well, and we had set up a couple tip ups too. So I had Biz with me and we're hole hopping and we get to a hole and I pull out my chew. Or I like look at him. I'm like, all right, dude, we're going to get after it. Cause we like got a bit away from the crowd. And I was like, we're going to get one over here. They're pushed way out. And I pull out my tin of chew and he's like looking at me, you know, and I like, you know, pack it and throw one in and put it in my pocket. And Biz just looks at me and he's like, oh, I thought you were going to throw that down the hole. And I looked at him and I was like, I mean, I guess I totally could have. I don't get why this wouldn't work.
Hey.
Oh my God.
No. Don't have children.
And yeah, so then right before their podcast, I think we had a tip up and the tip up goes up and I look at Whitney and I'm like, dude, we gotta go. There's a tip up. And we run over there. He sets a hook and reels in like an 11-inch hammer handle pike. And
so hyped.
He was so hyped.
Like,
yeah, he was.
It was awesome, but like with him, the funniest thing was then we caught another little crappie, but he looks at me and he just hands me his phone and he's like, "Hey man, will you film this shit? My kid will love it." I was like, "Yeah, dude, for sure." But then they go hop in one of the hubs to record their podcast. So like we're just sitting outside chilling, chatting with Donnie and their other sound guy, the guy who is he was on the Deadliest Catch, so he was telling us some pretty wicked stories. But then Donnie was like, "Hey, we should hole hop and like maybe catch a few." And we're like, "Yeah, sure. I mean, we might as well." So we go out there and start hopping around and I mean, Griff was the one who really saw this, but Donnie was with Sobe and just the biggest brick mark comes in and just uncorks on his jig. So Donnie said, huh?
It's kind of like that.
Yeah, pretty much just like that.
Pretty much that.
And this is a lake that like has giants, like actual giants.
Like we were planning on just going filming that day. So we're like, well, we might as well just go there. And just uncorks on the jig. And Donnie sets the hook. And once again, they don't know how to use any of this equipment. So he's got an inline fly reel on, just corking in it.
Right. So there's no drag.
No, he just gave her.
Yeah. And Sobe's not coaching him at all right now.
Still panicking.
No, he freaked out because he knew how big the fish was and like was just like panicking. And like, dude, and he's got like one of those like Jason Mitchell meat sticks, which is like one of the stiffest goddamn ice rods available. And it is just flexed at the handle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, for the love of God, let go of the reel so we can swim away a little bit. Nah.
No,
Let's
just
force an 18-incher to the ice.
Got it to the bottom of the hole and ripped the hook out of its mouth when we were going to try to land it. It was like a over 16. Well over.
Dude, it was a giant. Like, the heck.
But yeah, so that happened hole hopping, but then they come they come out of the hub and Whitney comes out first and he's just looking at me and he's like, dude, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I'll pay whoever I need to. I feel so bad. And I'm like, what the hell what are you talking about? And he looks at me and he's like, dude, look what happened to my snow pants. His bibs. And he turns around, and dude, the back of his leg, he had to have had in front of a heater for 40 minutes because it was dripping.
It was
had melted
liquefied.
so much.
Why wouldn't you?
It was like, and it wasn't just burned; it was liquefied,
Melted.
like,
Gone.
Sounds amazing.
it was unbelievable.
I don't even know how
You
you
think
feel
you'd feel that? Yeah, right.
It was
Yeah.
on fire.
Literally, yeah.
Listen, he had 3rd-degree burns. It was
sounds really good. Fuck y'all.
Yeah, I looked
Sounds
at him
good.
and I was like, "How didn't you feel that?"
Oh my god, that was funny as shit.
I actually forgot about that until we started talking about this, and I was like, "That was one of the best parts of the day."
What'd you say, Waldo?
whatever happened to those bibs?
I think they took them, dude.
Yeah, we just let them
Yeah, they
keep
took 'em
all of
home.
them.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to all that gear. Honestly, it just Well, they wore it late. We seen them at the game, but the yeah, and then I mean, we decided we were gonna try to we were gonna cook because I know Donnie was trying to do like a cooking thing as part of their video too, and we were like worried that they weren't gonna catch shit. So before they got there, we caught like a ton and we had them in a cooler. And
It was a good call.
Naturally, like,
which was a really good call, yeah, because they
all
barely
right,
caught.
John Gillespie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's
But
not-
so we had a bunch in the cooler and we had it in the hub house where we were gonna cook. But then every time they'd catch like a keeper size one, we'd have them come and like throw it in there.
Which, mind you, they caught like 4 or 5 keepers.
Yeah, 4 or 5 max. And but they we kept telling them, "Oh, you guys are smashing them," and we like dump out the like there's this huge pile of crappies and all this shit. And so we're in there just like knocking the sides off them to do the
Best
cooking
was
thing.
their reaction when you cut it open or when you open the cooler because they
Total
fully
John
believed they
Gillespie.
caught every one of those fish.
They were like,
Total
"Oh my
John
god, we're
Gillespie,
smashing
dude.
them!" And then,
You're such a John. You're such a John.
and Bart's out
You're
there.
such a liar.
Yeah, we lied to him, dude, big time. And then Bart's out there, like, still hole hopping with those guys. And every time, like, Whit would catch like a keeper, he'd just we already have like 20 crappies in this cooler that we're cutting. And every time he'd catch one, he'd come running over to the shack and like unzip the door. And he's like, "Can we keep this one?" And he'd like huck it into the pile. Like, he was just so hyped. And yeah, so we're just in there zipping the sides off him. We made like fish tacos, which was super dope.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. That was pretty fun, like just chilling in there cooking with all those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys, you did blackened tacos, didn't you? So you like maced out the inside of that house. I remember opening the door.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It was good, dude. You guys liked it. Everyone thought it was dope.
Yeah, it was delicious. I mean,
No, they were delicious as always.
Yeah, so me and Donnie were just in there ripping fish tacos, and then everyone was just kept coming in there. But like half the people there were like blackout drunk, so they're just in there just eating the shit out of these tacos like crazy. But luckily, we had like 10 pounds of fish fillets.
Yeah. But then, I mean, Waldo, you got anything else from that day you remember?
Oh man, there's so much Pink Whitney everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, and then Sylvie
there
looks
was.
at Grinelli and Bizen's like toboggan wars, and he
Yo.
throws 2 sleds behind his snow dog with Wit and Grinelli on them, and just starts ripping them around the lake like they're tubing, and it's like open water.
Yeah, that was great because they're actually moving pretty good and they're fighting each other.
Oh yeah, there was some serious fighting going on.
Yeah, because they weren't tubes; they were sleds, so they'd just follow right behind. So they were never bouncing off each other; they were just basically punching each other, trying to throw each other off.
Are you ever actually going for crappies, or you just like fun?
Not
fishing?
for long. Not for very long.
Oh,
No.
The whole fishing part happened for approximately 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it was hang out on the ice, drink beer, and fish tacos.
Yeah, but they were
Biz
loving it, dude.
Like he sleds like he plays hockey, just dirtier than hell. Just taking cheap shots, throwing elbows. Like it was great to watch.
Yeah,
I will say my biggest takeaway from that day from these guys from like chatting and just hanging out was that Sweden is lit, dude.
Yeah.
The stories these guys have from Sweden is insane.
Yeah, we definitely need to go. You got
well, we have approximately zero pull though.
All
like,
they were
fucking
dusters.
NHL players. They can roll into Sweden and just be like, "Come on."
Yeah. No, they were big fans of that. But that day as a whole was just unbelievable. And then at the end of it, Whit had the Winter Classics the next day, and Biz is on TNT doing the pregame and everything. So he wasn't going to the Winter Classic. He had to fly out. Well, Biz got hammered. So Biz looks at a camera guy and is like, I need to get to the airport. And takes one of their camera guys and goes, drive me. And then Waldo had to drive them back to the ramp.
Yeah, I had to drive him back to the ramp, and it was just a catastrophe of him on the phone the entire time, screaming at people and getting screamed at because he had already missed like a flight because he was too drunk to look at his phone and be like, "Oh yeah, it's probably time to leave."
And just having an absolute riot.
And how does that conversation? How does that conversation go? Like he's supposed to be on a flight back to like do the pregame for like the Winter Classic, and he's like, "Nah, dude, I'm getting smashed. I'm ice fishing in Minnesota," and they're like, "What the fuck?"
That's literally what he told all of them like 5 times as he was getting.
But so what?
He
what?
Exactly. Yeah.
Old person who was on the phone
who gives a fuck?
Itch. And that he was stuck, and there was a tow truck getting him. That's why it was so loud. But really, he was in the middle of a side-by-side as I'm ripping him across the lake.
Oh, my God.
It sounds amazing. Like,
oh, great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then they tell us
point.
that they're having a meetup the next day.
Yeah. So then the next day, they're having this meetup at Cowboy Jack's downtown, and we go to return the machines and everything. Like, we get everything back to Clam, and we're like, yeah, great. Everything went great. Everything worked great. Everything's still working. And Pink and I look at each other, and we're like, I mean, we might as well go check this out, because I think Griff had a guy trip or was hanging with his girlfriend, and then Waldo had to get back to Anna too.
Yeah.
So we're like, all right, we'll swing down to this place. So we go down to Cowboy Jack's in downtown Minneapolis, and we literally get down there and park, and there's a line for like 2 blocks.
Yeah, there's like a couple hundred people waiting to get in, and it's like minus 15 outside.
Yeah, mind you, remember the Winter Classic last year? It was literally negative 15. It was like one of the coldest days of the year. It was freezing. So Pink and I like just called Donnie, and we're like, hey man, we came to like swing by, but like this line is mega long. And he's like, oh, just walk to the front. And one of like probably top 5 cool moment of my life just felt like was me and Pink walking past literally everyone, getting to the bouncer, them like looking at us like, what are you doing? And Donnie popping up and being like, yo, they're with us. And they immediately are like, oh, you're with Barstool. And they just opened the side door for us and just let us in.
And we just fucking walked in. Yeah, that was sick.
So then we go up to their meetup area. Mind you, this line doesn't only extend outside, it extends inside all the way up to the 2nd floor of Cowboy Jack's where they're having their meetup.
And there's like, I mean, how many people are in this bar? It's like a multi-level bar too. Like,
yeah, right before the Winter Classic. There's like, I don't know, there's got to be 500 plus in there. I don't even know.
Way more than that, dude. It was like 3 floors, isn't it?
Yeah, it was packed to the max.
Yeah.
And so Donnie just takes us right up there, and like we get to the edge of like, they have like the gated off, roped off area basically for them that they're letting people in. And like, I think Whitney sees us in the middle of taking pictures and just looks at me and Pinkalla and's like, boys, get in here. And like pulls open the barrier, letting us in. And that was also a very cool moment.
Yeah, dude, it was sick. And like, yeah, they had like a pretty stacked line of people like just trying to like take pictures of them. But their meetup is like, I mean,
gone to like our buddies meetups and stuff too. This was like, I mean, these dudes, they like are just dishing shots to people in line and shit. Like it was awesome. Like, you know, everyone. So these guys are like blackout because they're doing shots of Pink Whitney with like every single person that comes by.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how they do their meetups because they have the Pink Whitney that obviously named after Whit. I don't know how they do it because they have it there and everybody wants to do a shot with them. Like that's the thing.
And they just do it.
And they just do it.
They have ones that are just like pink lemonade and not actually alcohol or something.
Dude, they're not though.
They're not though. We watched them pouring it out of the bottles and we were drinking out of the same bottles with them.
Their line for the meetup just goes by a table. And there was just like a guy that had to have been like their intern there and his job was just to pour shots. So he's just like pouring shot glasses of Pink Whitney on this table, and everybody in line is just ripping free shots. And then they get up there and they want to hammer them with the boys too.
I will
so
say
what,
that
just
they're not.
Slap that bitch in the face and just keep on going.
Yeah, they are not full shots. They're like the little, you know, like the little cough medicine. Like
well, whatever.
But they're doing like 100 of them.
But like, yeah, but it was, and then so we're just chilling up there with like their crew while they're doing their meetup thing, and like there were people coming because like the chick from like the Bachelorette was like there and shit.
Yeah, all of a sudden we were on the Bachelorette.
Like there was like all kind of people showing up to this thing, dude. It was crazy.
Yeah, we're just standing in line, and all of a sudden there's more cameras that show up, and we're like, "What the heck?" And they're like, "I don't know where these are from." And yeah, the Bachelorette rolls in.
And the funniest part of the whole goddamn thing was they didn't even know who that like I think it was supposed to be like a big deal that they were like there and all this shit, and none of the guys from Chicklets even knew who the fuck they were.
No, they had no idea. So we're just sitting there chilling with them, and then there's, I don't know, it's like 4 or something, and the meetup ends, so they just gate the whole area off, and then we're just chilling there chatting with all of them. And Whit and Grinelli are talking to me and Pink, and they're just like, what are you guys doing tonight? And we're like, I don't know, probably just gonna, you know, sit here, maybe watch the game and go home, or just go home, whatever. And they just look at us and they're like, why don't you just come to the game with us? And me and Pink like looked at each other and we're like, I guess why don't we?
Yeah, that sounds great. Let's do
that. Sounds awesome. So they bring over their like manager agent, and she just comes over and she's like, yeah, what's your guys' names? Yep, what's your phone number? And we just suddenly have tickets to like the 8th row of the Winter Classic.
Sure.
Which are like $500 tickets.
Like unreal seats. And they were just like, yeah, we'll just text them to you. Sick. Thank you.
Yep.
So then, Pink and I went to the Winter Classic, and I mean, the Wild got crushed, but it was sick.
And yeah, because it was like a really sick sporting event, and they had like the whole Team USA there and shit. Like that was dope. They were like, you know, it was right before the Olympics, so they were like showing, you know, all the whole team, introducing everybody that was going to the Olympics and stuff. And then like we roll in and there's a concert going on. I don't even remember who played, to be honest. Thomas Rhett. And our seats are like right there, like literally 10th row Thomas Rhett concert when we walk in, and then we watched Winter Classic. But it was so goddamn cold. Like literally there's beers just like exploding in cup holders. Like
yeah, everywhere. I think we each went and tried to grab one, and we couldn't even finish it by the time it slushed up.
Yeah, but that was wicked. And like it was funny because all the guys from the Chicklets, they were all wearing all the ice armor suits that we gave them the day before at the game.
Yeah. They were like, this is the best.
Yeah, that was sick.
But yeah, no, that was the that was basically the events of the Barstool weekend, and it all happened in like 4 days, and that's why I wasn't able to get a video out that Thursday, because all of a sudden we were driving to Clam and picking up machines and just all this stuff going on. But for sure, like probably a top memory in all of our lifetimes, just how crazy wild that was. Yeah, it was just nuts.
Yeah, I was sick meeting those guys too, and they were all like super cool dudes. And like I know some of them like we're still like kind of chat with periodically or whatever, so that's cool.
Yeah, we still connect with them every once in a while, which is really cool. I think Donnie said he wants to go out ice fishing when he's home over Christmas too.
Yeah, that'd be sick. But
But Waldo, you got anything you want to add from that day?
No, it was definitely one hell of a day. I'll never forget it.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. But all right, boys, I think that is a wrap up of our day with Barstool. If you've listened this far for the Chronicle stuff, thank you very much. We are back home from our first trip.
Not sick.
Not sick.
Not sick. Everybody is not sick now, which is great. And we will have videos coming out periodically now. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in to another episode of Past the Barb. And until next time, thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.